Welcome to it, sports fans. It is episode 10 from the Bleachers, 21st of November, 2018. Where has the year gone? I heard some Christmas music today at the shops, which was crazy. It's like a month away. People are crazy about Christmas. It's madness. Anyway, that's the world we're in. But let's get into it. We're all about the sport here. We got a great show coming up. 3 awesome topics. It's been awesome getting into it today. Really nice day in Cape Town. People are out and about. The tourists are officially here. Cape Town is alive. It's awesome. But today we're talking all football, all Premier League and European football. And we're going to get into these 3 topics. I hear all the time pundits saying defenses win titles. So I wanted to know, do defenses win titles? So I think that's something interesting to look into. I've heard it as quite a fad, it's quite a cool thing to say in sport. It makes you sound like you know what you're talking about. Defenses win sports or championships. Let's have a look into that. And then, of course, we saw, if you haven't seen it, England have released a DVD, Dare to Dream, based on their World Cup. Going to look into that. And then, of course, old FFP. I'll finish off with the financial fair play. And just a quick musing and thoughts on that. So that's the intro. Remember to share, like, and go through and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and beyond that on Podbean as well. Everything is below, so go to the description and you'll see the Podbean page for the From the Bleachers podcast, and then of course the YouTube page. But for now, let's get into it. Let's get into today's show. Really looking forward to it. So as I said in the intro, I hear a lot of cool, faddish kind of things that make people sound like they're into the football or the rugby or whatever it is. And this sort of saying, and I hear it all the time from pundits as though it's meant to mean something, defenses win titles. Like your defense wins you titles. And I've always thought, what are they talking about? But I've kind of fallen into that trap. And then I thought, let me look into this. Let me look into it because it's important. That's what football's about. The hardest thing to do is to win a title in football. Anybody can win an FA Cup, a Champions League, Those aren't extremely difficult to win. Once you win the title, that lets you know who the best team is. It really, really does. If you've ever been to a party, so anybody who's been to a party in the last 10 to 15 years on planet Earth, and you bump into a girl, and she's great, and she's good looking, and she's funny, and she's really cool, and she's single, and she's really nice, actually. Right? And before you know it, you're talking to her, and it's going great. And then in about an hour, the party gets busy, people talk to her, you lose each other, and as it goes, you're talking to other people. And before you know it, hey guys, my Uber's here, and she's gone. And she's gone. Her Uber is here, and she's out of here. And now, you're like, oh my goodness, she was single, and she was great, and she was good looking, and she was nice, and she was willing to talk to me, but I didn't get her number. And now I've got to go be that Facebook guy, and then you're that, oh, I met you at Melanie's party last week guy. That's awful. You don't want to be that guy. Don't be that I met you last week at Melanie's party guy. Girls don't dig it. They don't like that. Don't be that stalker guy. Hey, I met you last week at Melanie's party. She probably met 50 guys. And she doesn't need to remember who you are. Because if you weren't confident enough to ask her then, you're dead. You blew it. You're the I met you at Melanie's party guy. You blew it. We live in a go for it culture. That's not what I feel. It's what I see. I'm trying to absorb the world every single day, read this, read that. But when I say to you Amazon, Google, Netflix, Uber, Apple, it's a go for it culture. Right? We live in a go for it culture. And not go for it tomorrow in 15 years. No. Silicon Valley right now runs how the world thinks about business in the Western world. China got their own thing going on. But for those of us who consume the Western world in a capitalist model and live day to day, we want to pay our bills and maybe one day buy your mom a house, buy yourself a flat, buy yourself an apartment. We look at Google, Netflix, Amazon, Uber, Apple. Go for it. They tell you go for it. That's business. Go for it. And you go for it now. There's no delayed gratification anymore. You go for it. The culture is go for it now. The Golden State Warriors in 2017, right, went and recruited a guy called Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is now the second best player in the world after LeBron James. I think that is pretty unanimous. What I haven't told you is that the previous season, the Golden State Warriors had the greatest regular season in NBA history. 73-9, which means 73 matches won, 9 lost in an 82-game season. What they done the season before that is won the title, and they had the 2-time MVP. And the first, Steph Curry, by the way, is his name, 2-time MVP. So he was 2 times in a row the MVP. And they still went and added Kevin Durant, on top of having the defensive player of the year in Draymond Green, on top of having the 3rd greatest shooter that's ever lived in Golden State, Klay Thompson. So listen to this team. Klay Thompson, the 3rd greatest shooter of all time. Steph Curry, he changed the dimension of basketball forever, the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. Steph Curry's the greatest. And then you've got Draymond as the defensive player of the year. And then you've got the 2nd greatest shooter of all time in Klay Thompson. And then you add the most efficient player the NBA has ever seen. Go for it. Go for it. So they'd had the best regular season, and they added the 2nd best player in the world. They already had the 2 greatest shooters of all time and the defensive player of the year. They are based in San Francisco, where Uber, Apple, Netflix, Google, and Amazon make sure they keep their finger on the pulse in the Bay Area. In 2009, Real Madrid broke the world record to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. Since then, they've added Toni Kroos, James Rodriguez, Luka Modric, Casemiro, and then they broke the world record again for Gareth Bale. Results of that: first team ever to win 3 Champions League titles in a row. I haven't misspoken. They broke the world in 2009. Real Madrid broke the world record. Cristiano Ronaldo became what is now an icon at Real Madrid. But then they said that's not enough, because we're in a go for it culture. Florentino Perez said Toni Kroos, World Cup winner. James Rodriguez, undoubtedly probably the player of the tournament at that World Cup, which Germany won, in Brazil, which Germany won. One of the players of the tournament. I thought he was the best player at the tournament. Luka Modric. Many think he's the best midfielder in the world. He joined the man I believe is the best midfielder in the world, Toni Kroos. So they already had the best midfielder in the world. They add the next 2. At that time, James Rodriguez and Luka Modric, the two best midfielders in the world outside of Toni Kroos. Then they said the young Brazilian, who they see as perhaps the next Dunga out there, Casemiro. And then they added the nitrous, because they couldn't win it without him. And then they added Gareth Bale. And he has taken them into a different stratosphere. Go for it. That's what Real Madrid are doing. In business and in sport, go for it. Aggressive wins every time. We live in a go for it culture. In business and in sport, go for it wins every time. I am so sick of listening to so-called pundits and people in the media trying to tell me defense wins sport or championships. Seriously, the dumbest thing I saw this season, right, was Liverpool go and invest £75 million in Virgil van Dijk. Like, that is the dumbest thing I've seen. And I kid you not, it's probably the dumbest thing I've seen in the history of the Premier League since I've been watching it since the age of 5 years old. Because the problem is that Liverpool scored 22 goals less than Man City. That's the problem. They had the fourth best defense in the league. That's not the issue. You didn't need another defender. Lovren's errors aren't the problem. The 22 goals less that you have than Man City is the issue. So why they didn't address the following issues? Salah was never going to repeat 30 goals in the season. I told people before the season, pre-season, I said it, he'll never get 30 again. I don't think he'll get 20 this season. I love Bobby Firmino, but you can't have a guy up front with a team like that, with the gegenpress, and they really had it going, who doesn't get 25 as your striker. And to be fair, Mane, I love him, but he can be upgraded. There is better out there. Immediately, I think Perisic. So Liverpool, it's dumb because the 22 goals you fell short last year of Man City are the problem. Not the fact that you were the fourth best defense. That's not the problem. Yet they went and spent 75 million on Virgil van Dijk, and people think he's Sergio Ramos. Your defense wasn't that bad last year. It was the fourth in the league. It's just that you were 22 goals short of Manchester City. Address that. We live in a go-for-it culture. The 14 points and 22 goals, which go hand in hand, which you are short of Man City, is the problem, not the amount of goals you conceded. And people might say, oh, you're just biased, you don't like Liverpool. I've had a few people say that. So I say, okay, once again, I may be biased. But you know what isn't biased and is so cold-blooded? Is the classic numbers. So let's have a look. What's really happening? Do defenses win titles? So let me put it this way to you. 16 of the 26 Premier League seasons that we've had so far have been won by the team with the most goals. So that's about 62%. 16 of 26 seasons. Right? Only 6 of the 26. So that's about 23% of the seasons, right? Where the team has had the best attack and defense. So don't tell me about balance. That only works out 23% of the time to win the title. Remember, we live in a go-for-it culture. If you want to win the title, it's only 23% of the time that you need to have the best attack and the best defense. 62% of the time, if you have the best attack, you'll win the title. So once again, Liverpool, why are you spending 75 million on a centre-back that's never done anything besides what he did at Celtic? That's not the problem. You already had the fourth best defense, and the stats tell you. 62% of the time, if you have the best attack, you'll win. If you score the most goals in the league, 62% of the time you win. Only 23% of the time, if you have the best attack and the best defense, do you win. So you don't need the balance. The numbers scream this. All right? But then again, people generally say, okay, those numbers aren't enough. Only 6 out of the 26 seasons, and this one was the big one for me. So 23% of the seasons where the team had the best defense has the team won the league. Of the 26 seasons, we've had 6 of the seasons where the best defense has won the league. That's not me saying it. That's what the numbers scream. So only 23% of the time does the best defense in the whole Premier League win the title. And then I know what the next one is. I know what people always say. And it's so annoying when people say this. I hear it from so-called pundits on the big sort of stations, whether the British one or the South African one or the one that's throughout Africa, is clean sheets will win you titles. No, you're wrong. Because only 7 of the 26 seasons, that's 27% of the champions, right? So only 7 seasons out of the 26 has that club had the most clean sheets. So 23% of the time when your defense is the best, and only 27% of the time when you have the most clean sheets, does the team win. But 62% of the time, if you have the most goals, you win. 16 out of 26 seasons. I don't know why managers, if the excuse is managers are fearful of getting sacked, I don't understand why. You're going to get sacked anyway. Because once again, the average lifespan of a manager in the Premier League is under 2 years. It's just under 2 years. So the sack is coming for you no matter what. Ask Claude Puel. He thought he was doing a great job at Southampton. Leicester picked him up. Many other managers, Harry Redknapp might tell you, I got Spurs into the top 4 twice in a row. Chelsea, of course, went and won the Champions League. Harry was in the top 4, but it wasn't good enough for Daniel Levy, and he got sacked. Pochettino's done no better since. Did come second, but second and fourth aren't different. So you're going to get the sack anyway. That's something I don't understand about the mentality of managers in the Premier League. Just go for it, because you're going to get sacked within 2 years. It is certified. Unless you're Pochettino, unless you're Klopp, unless you're Alex Ferguson, and we'll never see that again, unless you're Wenger, every single other club, every manager should just go for it, because your lifespan is less than 2 years. It is less. It is under 2 years. How does my theory hold up? Okay, because solid theories should hold up for the whole table, not just for the top 4. How does it hold up for relegated teams? Thought I'd have a look at this one because I found it interesting. I thought if the theory holds, and I'm not just saying things so people are like, oh, that guy kind of sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Let's hang around him for a bit. How does the theory work for relegation? Let me put it this way. I'm not even going to take you into too many stats. 18 of the 26 seasons, so that's 70%. The team with the least goals in the Premier League is in the relegation zone. Let me say that again for you. 18 of the 26 seasons, so 70% of the seasons that have been played, 18 of 26. The team with the least goals is in the relegation zone. So 7 of 10 times, if you don't score more goals than 3 other teams, you are certified going down. So to managers, I say, if your odds are 7 out of 10 times, if I don't get more goals than 3 teams in the league, and no matter what I do, after 2 years, I'm probably going to be sacked anyway, why don't you just go for it? Stop listening to pundits. You don't get paid to please pundits. You get paid to do your job. And your job is so short, it's 2 years. Go for it. If you want to avoid relegation, what you need to do is forget about defense, which I thought Jokanovic had done brilliantly, and overpay for strikers. You overpay for strikers and for midfielders and wingers who can get you 10 goals a season. Midfielders and wingers who can get you 10 goals a season, you overpay. Overpay for that. Overpay for strikers. Play 2 up front. Because 70% of the time, those clubs who score less than 3 other clubs go down. 18 of the 26 seasons, folks, the team with the least goals is in the relegation zone. So it doesn't matter how good your defense is. It means nothing whether you want to win the title or you want to stay in the league. It means nothing. I don't ever want to hear about defense winning you the league. It's nonsense. The numbers are there. 6 out of 26. Only 6 times out of 26. That's 23% of the seasons where somebody's had the best defense, they've won the league. 62%, that is 16 out of 26 seasons that the Premier League has been on, the greatest show on earth. The Premier League team with the most goals has won it. 62%. I don't ever want to hear, if you want to sound smart about football, saying defense wins championships. It's nonsense. Liverpool are going to come fourth again, and they added it like a world record defending signing on fee. It's because Salah, Mane, and Firmino can't get you enough goals. If you want to date the supermodel, you got to ask her. We live in a go-for-it culture. Aggressive wins. That's how it works. I'm not telling you to like it. I'm telling you the rules of the game. Aggressive wins. You want to date the supermodel, you gotta ask her. Amazon, Google, Netflix. Go for it. Aggressive in business and in sport always wins. Let's move on to this. I got a hilarious text from a friend the other day. Absolutely hilarious. Like, I couldn't believe it, kind of thing. There's very little I can believe in this world. Or I can't believe in this world. All right? Absolutely hilarious. And I thought to myself, it cannot be. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Before I get to that, I've always believed this. I've got a mother who really inspires me, and she has always said to me, never aim to be mediocre. And I agree with her, because I think mediocrity is where everyone's soul goes to die. And I don't mean you need to have the most money in life, right? That's not what mediocrity is. But mediocrity is like hanging out with mediocre people, doing mediocre stuff. If you live in a mountainous area, not hiking. If you live by the sea, not, stand-up paddleboarding or something like that. There are ways where money isn't the center, but you don't need to be mediocre. Mediocrity is where the soul goes to die, and I believe that 100%. So my mate sends me this text, and he says, England have released a DVD, Dare to Dream. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I laughed super hard at first. I laughed out loud for a good 15 minutes. When you laugh so hard, you have to get in the fetal position. Otherwise, your stomach feels like it's going to explode. Like it's going to pop out. That's how hard I was laughing. You got to get the fetal position going. Like you got to go lie in a cold shower for 10 minutes. It's hurting so much. Like that kind of laughter. And then I actually sort of sombered down, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is England now. England are mediocrity personified. English football is mediocrity personified. And this is how I look at it. Gareth Southgate qualified for the World Cup, and people are treating him like he's Trapattoni. Like he's found us a Del Piero or a Baggio, he's not Giovanni Trapattoni. He's not. Overnight, after qualifying for a World Cup. This is the same Gareth Southgate, might I add, who in 2006 came to Middlesbrough, managed his beloved Middlesbrough. And remember, Gareth Southgate was an unbelievable defender back in the day. Seriously, he was unbelievable at Aston Villa. He was seriously class. I don't know why he never went to a bigger club. He might have stayed at Middlesbrough too long. But he was a serious defender. Classy defender. I would say better than Rio Ferdinand in my opinion, just in terms of how clean and classy he was. I'd say he was probably England's Maldini. Now, I'm not comparing Gareth Southgate to Maldini. I'm just saying he was that classic defender who would just get the ball, not get dirty. But as a manager in 2006, he went back to his beloved Middlesbrough in 2006. 12th in his first season, 13th in the second season, and his third season, they were relegated. In 2015, he managed the England under-21s to 7th out of 8 teams at the under-21 Euros. Yeah, he's a certified Mario Zagallo, isn't he? He really is. What on earth is a team that was embarrassed by Croatia, which is a team that's like undergoing incredible turmoil, like massive landslide shifting turmoil organizationally. England were embarrassed in the semi-final, like outclassed, played off the park. What are they doing releasing a DVD about that? None of it makes sense. Until you realize this is the same country that thinks Harry Kane's world class. Until you realize that, right? Like, let's play a game. Let's play a game. And if you're listening, you can play along. When I say Spain, you think Thiago Alcantara. When I say Germany, you think Toni Kroos. When I say France, you think Antoine Griezmann. When I say Brazil, you think Neymar. When I say England, you think Harry Kane. I'm going to go through those names again. Thiago Alcantara, Toni Kroos, Antoine Griezmann, Neymar, and England say Harry Kane. Harry Kane, by the way, still has not won a single trophy. Harry Kane's biggest trophy is a runners-up medal in the League Cup. Harry Kane in 2015-2016 missed his opportunity to become certified world class. Leicester were reeling, the pressure was on, and then Tottenham crumbled. And where was Kane? Because that's when the world class, that's what makes you world class. Not when you're around 6 other world class guys and they deliver. Maradona at Napoli. There's a reason why nobody there can ever be Maradona again. He took them to a title which was impossible, single-handedly. Kane had Dele Alli on fire. He had Christian Eriksen on fire. He had an unbelievable coach. He had a great, solid team. Vertonghen, he probably had the best back four in the league. Kyle Walker on the right. Rose on the left. The two Belgian boys in the middle. Alderweireld and Vertonghen. And Kane couldn't deliver them from evil. He failed dismally. And when they needed him, he crumbled. And the team goes as the leader goes. Maybe the FA are trolling us. Like, that's the only way I can justify this madness. Maybe they're trolling us. They're like, let's test them. Let's put some stuff out there and see how they respond, these people. Maybe they think we're just like, we're passive consumers. Like, we'll just buy in. I think they're trolling us. It's the only way I dare to dream. Like, what are we talking about? But English football, once again, I think English football and mediocrity are just hand in glove. Dare to dream is a joke. English football, you're in a nightmare. You need to wake up. And maybe you need to actually go to sleep and start dreaming. Because you're actually in a nightmare at the moment. I don't know if people realize how long ago 1966 was. And on this DVD, what they won't mention is that Croatia, as we speak, have a football association that is almost defunct. That's who embarrassed them. I mean, if you watch that semi-final, men against boys. Also, it's 2018. Why the bloody hell is anybody releasing a DVD? What are we talking about here? I'm on Amazon Prime. DVDs, are you kidding me? I mean, what next? The boombox. They'll release a cassette tape of John Motson. Like, what are we talking about? What are we going to do? Like, am I going to have to wind up my cab's car when they come here? Like, my cabbie's car is going to come here and he's going to have to wind it up. What are we... A DVD in 2018? Come on. If you want to get to mediocrity, all you need to do is jump upon the Kane train. England, it's embarrassing. Dare to dream. it is a joke. But once again, mediocrity and England, who think Harry Kane is world class, and apparently Gareth Southgate, after getting Middlesbrough relegated, and the England under-21s coming 7th out of 8th at Euros, apparently this Gareth Southgate is Giovanni Trapattoni. Do me a favour. Do me a favour. Now, lastly, let me get into this. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, football is so nuts. It makes me nuts and passionate and want to cry and laugh and celebrate. I love football. I love it. I love it. It's my first love. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been to a party where it's a party where it's models, right? I've been to a few of these, and it's never ended well for me. But you go to a pool party, all right? And it's just models. It's models everywhere. The dudes all have six packs and the girls are like perfect, right? All of them. But they don't say to you, like they don't say it out loud that you're not one of us. But, your chubby tummy and your sandals that aren't Havaianas and your shorts that aren't from France and like above your knees. Like all of those things, you start to recognize that, I'm not one of these people. They won't say it to you, but six packs, flat abs on the girls. You don't have Havaianas. Yeah, I think you can see where this one's going. So they won't say it to you. You'll almost exclude yourself, really, right? It's like, no, I'm not talking to her. I don't look like him. He's got a six-pack. He can talk to her. That's how we behave as human beings. It's called imposter syndrome. Chubby belly, and you don't have Havaianas. Financial fair play is dumb. Let me tell you why it's dumb. It's so stupid. Like, you don't need to think hard about it. We shouldn't look at football clubs and football in the framework, because as normal citizens of this planet, we think in the small to medium enterprise type of mindset. Fiscal responsibility, all of these types of terms, Austerity, blah, blah. We can use all these accounting words. I don't even know what half of them mean. I had to Google them. Austerity. My point is this. We should elevate entertainment and football to this dimension. In 2009, we had the greatest financial crisis we have seen probably in this millennium. The Great Depression was its own thing, but purely in a financial sense, the scale of what happened, because it was the first time it happened with global markets. Truly global. I mean, Icelandic banks being involved and their bad behavior crushed American banks and places like General Motors. But in 2009, right, the American government bailed out companies like Fannie Mae, AIG, General Motors, Bank of America, to the tune of about, give or take, roughly $75 billion. I'll let that number sink in. AIG, General Motors, Bank of America, Fannie Mae. 75 billion with a B dollars. Los Angeles, famous for Hollywood, from all the reports that I've read, is probably the most in-debt city in the world. Now, these reports from Business Insider that I've sourced and from a few other financial writers say not only does that include the citizens of Los Angeles, right, but the actual city itself, the debt that has accrued and owes the American citizens. Los Angeles and Hollywood, in order to exist, are the most in-debt city in the world, according to reports. My question is this. If America can do it so that they can keep the backbone of their entertainment going, Hollywood, why can't the British government, and we know Britain currently is the center of the economic world, why can't they bail out football clubs? Just bail them out. Sport, like movies, is escapism. Don't impart real life austerity and limitations on sport. Don't do it. There's a reason why people save up for 4 or 5 years for a season ticket to go and watch Arsenal play all season. As scary as that sounds. As scary as that sounds. Like, people choose to go and watch Arsenal. But my point is, we should elevate entertainment. Entertainment and real life are not the same thing. And entertainment serves a purpose. Scarlett Johansson on screen, she'll get paid her $40 million a year or whatever she gets. And she allows us to escape. For us sports fans, why can't Britain just bail the football clubs out? And I understand what the counter argument is that we don't want maladministration because people go crazy, and that's what built the bubble that led to 2009. But in general, right? In general, smart people don't like to look bad. And smart people are in charge financially of football clubs. It's not a bunch of dummies. It's not a bunch of dummies. And smart people hate doing badly. Especially, trust me, I know a lot of investment bankers and I know a lot of chartered accountants. They hate to do badly, especially when it comes to numbers. If you ever want to manipulate somebody, throw files of numbers at an investment banker, at an accountant. They love it and they want to get it dead right. En masse. Portsmouth is an outlier, right? We haven't had one like Portsmouth really at the big end, at the top end. We haven't had Portsmouth. We've had Portsmouth. That's it. I can't think of another club that's gone into administration. FFP, financial fair play, is a joke. All it does is keep the establishment at what it is. There's a reason why people are moving away in Britain from the Premier League. It's getting less entertaining. It's becoming Michael Schumacher 4 times in a row. People stop watching Formula 1. The beauty of sport is I don't know what the result is going to be. Other than keeping the establishment like it is, what else is FFP for? So I don't understand. Bournemouth have a billionaire owner. Why can't he bid for Neymar? Why? Why is that not? If we're talking about fair, why are we not opening it up? Open it up to everybody. Because if you wanted fair, right? And it's dumb. Here's why financial fair play falls down. Here's where it gets exposed as being dumb. If you want fair, right at the outset, from now, next season, you have a salary cap, you have a transfer cap, and everybody has to play underneath that, not according to your income. Then we see who the best coaches are. Then we don't have this argument of, this guy gets £300 million a year. Then coaches have to develop players. Then coach, like they have to do, and you have to nerdle and work with a salary cap. That's the same for everybody. A transfer cap. That's the same for everybody. But we don't do that. We impose a limitation so that Bournemouth can't compete with Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Man City, European Super League on the way. It's dumb. Get the FFP thing out the way. We don't need it. The English game is great. AIG, General Motors, Bank of America, Fannie Mae, $75 billion. There's plenty of money out there. Do us a favor. Do us a favor. Go on, will ya? Do me a favor. We bail the clubs out. If they get into debt, it's not like there's a million clubs. It's not like there's a million clubs. There's 48 clubs that you need to really worry about. And the Premier League only has to worry about the clubs within their structure, especially with the money now. It's £100 million guaranteed if you get relegated. Even the relegated teams earn more than the top Spanish team, which is Real Madrid, Barcelona. They earn more than them in terms of prize money at the end of the season. La Liga is the second highest grossing league in the world. Listen to that one. So England, you can bail out any teams because it's going to be one team every 10 years that you need to bail out. So stop the FFP within the English game. It's dumb. Let it go. It's silly. I mean, some players earn like the GDP of some countries weekly. Don't tell me that money is the problem. The administrators just want the establishment. They serve the establishment. But if you open it up, then we'll keep watching for longer because it is a more fair contest and everybody gets a chance. How great would it be to see Neymar at Bournemouth? Because now we can see, like, how good are Man City actually? When Neymar, Sergio Ramos, and Thiago Alcantara are at Bournemouth. And then we got him against Sterling, Aguero, Company, Laporte. And then we get to see how good Pep is. We'll never know how good Eddie Howe is because he just doesn't get that financial muscle. And it's not because they don't have the bullet in the chamber. It's just because the establishment wants to stay as it is. And here's my final reason why it's dumb. For the establishment, it's hurting the product. Everybody thought Formula 1 would go on forever. Schumacher kept winning. Nobody watches Formula 1 anymore. Lewis Hamilton's turning it into the same thing. We watch sport to be enthralled. And the enthralling thing is I don't know the result. British government, English Premier League, get it together. FFP is dumb. Financial fair play, you're having a good one. They're having a laugh. Cancel it. It's dumb. That's it this week from the Bleachers. Please make sure to subscribe, like, spread the movement. Had so much fun. Episode number 10. It's been awesome so far. It will only get better. It's been awesome being with you today. Looking forward to tomorrow. Awesome subjects coming up. Remember, Friday 5 this week. Best wingers in Premier League history. Cannot wait for that. But until tomorrow, I'll chat to you then.